It's finally here. Can you believe it? It's summer. It's cute dress season. It's sports ball season. You know I have no idea what sport that is. But most importantly, it's sunglass season. Oh yes, cute friends. It is Fur Moo sunglass season. You know how I love Fur Moo. Oh, they have a special going on these sunglasses. Not just these, all of their sunglasses. Look, this is what you do. You take a picture of your very cute face and then you upload it into their website and then bam, you can try on any sunglasses you want. Get any sunglasses, including these. I'll put the style number in the description box of this video. Get 50% off frames at furmoo.com. That's FIRMOO.com. Then you can go running like those people. I'm telling you, we are out here. We are doing the most. We are looking our cutest, and we have our Fur Moo glasses. You can't go wrong. Look, check out the link in the description box of this video and get you some glasses and get outside. Hey there, true crime friends. It is Sunday, and here we are, gossiping live from our sofas. Listen, you know who's here, right? I know you saw that thumbnail. I know you saw who's here. It's me, and it's your favorite true crime friend reporting live from his sofa. It's Paul. Hey, Paul. Hey,
Hey, hey.
how you doing?
I'm
Happy
good. How are
Sunday.
you? Happy Sunday.
I'm
Thank you for
good.
having me over at the old gossip, the room of the innuendo.
People have been saying forever that we should get together. I mean, we did a collab on your channel. I was in Maine. That was a while back. I don't remember when that was. It was called, oh, that was December. December 11th, I flew to Maine. So that was
That
back
was
in
in
December.
December. No.
Yes.
Because in my
Yes.
world where time's like all the same, I'm like, oh, that was like last week, girl. What are you talking about? We're gonna plan something up
I don't,
that's been months ago.
right? And people were like, you guys should get together again.
We have to
And
more
here we
often. Yes, here
are.
we are though. Yeah.
We
Yeah, I'm honored
finally
to be
did it.
here. Yes,
Honored. Oh my
absolutely.
God. Oh my, you are the king. Listen, I first started listening to you just like scrolling through cases, and I was like, reporting live from my sofa. Yes, please. That sounds like something I would do. I was riveted by your content and your subs. People were like, you and Paul should get together. And I was like, I'm not big enough to talk to Paul. Like, Paul talks to fancy people. I'm not fancy.
We ain't fancy at the sofa.
And then when you mentioned your dogs, at the time it was Roscoe P. Coltrane. I was like, oh,
Mhm.
we are in the same age category. And then you got Bo and Luke. So cute. How are the boys? I know they got
The
fixed.
the boys are fine. They're over here sleeping right now. And you know what I actually am noticing, and it could just be a placebo effect to me, a slight calming down of the masculine testosterone doggy rage.
Really?
Just a little bit, which is nice,
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I'm like,
I thought it
okay,
took like a little bit of time, but on a
it
smaller
probably
dog, like
does.
maybe it's faster.
It could just be
That's
me. It
amazing.
could just be me. You know what I'm saying? I'm being like, oh, okay, cool. Like, whatever. But yeah, they're doing good. They're doing good. So
That's
yeah.
amazing. So we are here to talk about Aaron Patterson, the mushroom murder case from down under. Do you want to give the people a quick preview or should I?
You know what? How about you do one. I because I'd like, or do you want me
Okay.
to? It doesn't matter, whatever you want.
Listen, I can give you the quick and dirty, no problem. For people
Do the
who don't
quick and
know,
dirty.
this case is currently on trial right now down in Australia. Live trial happening every day. Lots of Aussies are jumping on their little Twitters and their YouTubes or whatever they're doing. This case is getting so much press. What happened was this lady, Erin Patterson, is a little bit ticklish of the brain. If you ask me, I am not a medical doctor, honey. I am just a gossip from North Jersey. But the gossip, according to Kathy, is that she crazy, allegedly. So her and her husband had split up, but not officially divorced. And then he filled out some tax papers. And on the tax papers, it's like, what's your marital status? And he said, according to him, his accountant put separated. Well, Miss Erin was living her happy life. She got some money from her mom and daddy and them. She built a custom home and she was living happily ever after. And she was going through some papers and she's like, what? just because we've been separated for 10 years. I can't believe he told the tax authorities we are separated. And she was all up in her feelings. And so she went to him and she was like, hey, boy, hey, why'd you tell them we were separated? And he was like, oh, this must have been an accident. I'll talk to the accountant. And she, being of the ticklish brain, was like, that is not enough. It will never do. Let's see, I done messed up my throat. Hang on, I done talked my throat dry. So then she's like, well, if you told the government that we are separated, you need to pay me child support. And he was like, okay. And he was thinking to himself, oh, I'm glad I'm separated from this heifer because she's super duper crazy. So she starts paying the child support, but he's paying child support, but she's still real mad. And so then she decided to make him a snack, a meal, whatever. After spending time with him, the husband, Simon, gets very ill and ends up in intensive care for like 2 months, 3 months. She nurses him back to health. And she was thinking to herself, well, that was just delightful. Me and him got closer. I'm going to help his family as well, allegedly, according to me. So she makes a really nice beef Wellington lunch, including like mushrooms and beef and Wellington. I don't know what goes in that. Anyway, and she made mashed potatoes and she made green beans. I want to know why she didn't have gravy, because not having gravy is the real reason she should have been arrested, in my opinion. Anyway, so for the lunch, she invites her ex-husband, she invites his parents, and the auntie and uncle on her husband's side. During the course of the meal, everybody has a lovely time. And she's like, oh, I'm having y'all over because we need to talk about the fact that I have a medical condition. Meanwhile, the husband was like, this heifer ain't right in the head, so I'm not going to go. He stays back. And she serves a lovely meal. And then it's like, oh, I have cancer. Now there's questions as to what kind of cancer. Does she have elbow cancer? Does she have uterine cancer? Does she have cancer of the brain? She's real not right. Maybe she just needed like the Act Right installation team to come and like grease up and tighten up her Act Right. But something went all the way to the left. Everybody that was at the lunch got sick except for her. And she was like, oh my goodness, I don't know what happened. So they take all the guests to the hospital where they probably die. And she's like, oh, I can't believe they died. And so she goes to the hospital and they're like, hey, girl, hey, you could die. And she's just like, no, thank you. And then so she leaves. And then they're like, no, you have to come back. She's like, my kids ate the leftovers, but I'm sure they'll be fine. So the kids get checked out and she gets checked out. And while she's in the hospital, she's sitting there talking with her husband and the ex-husband, whatever he is. And she's like, sometimes I put mushrooms and things. I just sneak them in. Isn't that hilarious? And then the ex-husband was like, hello 999 000. I don't know what they call. Anyway, he calls the popo and was like, you got to look at this heifer. I think she done killed my family. And now she's on trial. Did I cover everything?
That was perfect. Yes, and in such a wonderful way. I was like, keep talking. I'm just gonna do some stuff around the kitchen. I'm just gonna listen to you sit here and like go through the whole breakdown. The one part where you got the part where you said that the first question I have for you is,
yes.
okay, so you know how you're like, okay, she did this, she nursed her husband back to health, whatever. So what do you think was her goal? Because here's my thing. Imagine she's thinking, oh, I'm going to get them all sick again. I'll be the hero, nurse them. Can you imagine trying to nurse 5 people back from death? Like, what was she like? How is she going to do that? Then the other thing is, okay, I'm going to kill them all and get revenge. How would you think you would ever get away with that?
It doesn't make sense.
None of it does.
She clearly didn't think it through. Also, they're saying, like, okay, say you decide to poison some people, right? Why? I don't know. But I'm thinking to myself, like, one drop. Like, how do you know what a poisonous dose is? They say 3 tablespoons, 3 tablespoons for each person, 3 tablespoons in the whole batch. I don't know. It's wild.
That tablespoon part. So I was reading today some of the notes from like, I get what they said. So it would be like last week. I'm still kind of catching up to like, do updates and stuff. So that part right there where it was like, they're talking about the dosage of it and they're explaining like, this is what the poison is. This is what the poison does. And I'm thinking, and I can't remember the names. I think Don, who ate his portion and his wife's. And I'm thinking, oh my God, it takes such little of this stuff to literally just like shut your body down. And it's like, God. Now I guess my next question too is, were all the mushrooms death cap, or does she take a little bit of death cap and mix in with some button mushrooms? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. But I thought like, I didn't think that there were tons of death caps available. I thought in my mind there was a small amount of them available. So she said she got some from like the supermarket, and then some she had because apparently even after you pick them, they go bad really fast. So she had to dehydrate them in her dehydrator. So and once you I have a dehydrator, although I've never used it to poison anybody. Um Everything
Not
gets
yet.
really small. Not yet. Not yet. So I bought mushrooms today at the supermarket and I was like, how do I know these baby bellows are not poison? I don't what y'all doing ShopRite? How can I keep
I
myself
mean,
safe?
honestly. And then you have to
Do
wonder too, it's like, was she gonna so pretend she got away with it? Do you think she would have kept the
right.
dehydrator?
It was an expensive dehydrator. I would have just wiped it down. She didn't even clean it good before she threw it out. Like, girl,
She would have
if
hit it
she's
with a little
supposed to
elbow grease and just put it right back in that cover.
Windex it,
Indexed
what
it.
what kills poison germs? I don't I mean, maybe she did clean, but you know what?
That was a
Dehydrators
Google
are hard to
search.
clean because there's all those
Yeah.
little like parts and pieces and stuff.
Oh, yeah. And
How
then
do
that's the
you
other part too, where I'm sitting here like so okay, then imagine this part right here. Oh, thank you, Emily. Imagine you're sitting here doing this, and let's go down the roadway of she just wants to get even with the ex-husband who he was supposed to come, but he did not come. So her
right,
original intentions were ex-husband's going to be there and the four in-laws, or and the friend,
right,
whatever. So, but then she has two kids. So
right.
she made all the things, whatever. And I'm just like, the carelessness of even being like, well, what, like, this is my thoughts. What if I'm not here and the kids want to try and get into this? Or like all the things that could go wrong if you
I'm
didn't want your
telling you.
kids, at minimum, your kids. Like, we're accepting the fact that she wants to kill everybody else, but let's pretend that she's like, but I want to protect the children. Like all the things that could go wrong with just having poison in the house like that.
Right,
I'm like,
right.
you
How
know,
did she not
uh,
poison herself accident the way I would be licking my fingers, like, "Oh, you got a little mushroom on your fin" okay, whatever. And then, like, if it's on your plates, if it's on your forks, I would have to throw those forks and plates away. Like,
everything
the
gone.
whole thing doesn't make sense. It
None
doesn't
of it
make sense.
does. It's
And
like,
did
and
you
then
see how go ahead, go ahead.
no, 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 go, you go ahead, you go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say she put it in the trash, and then they went to the police or whatever. How come she didn't just, like when she threw the dehydrator away, she should have thrown the leftovers away out in wherever because she put the leftovers in the trash and they take it out of her trash and they test it and they're like, yeah, everything is fine in this batch. So you think she made like a poison batch and a not poison batch?
I think she made two batches, and let me tell you this much: if
Mm,
I was her, you would have had everybody that knew me would have been talking about where's Paul been at all afternoon, because I would have been 3 hours down the damn road talking about rolling the window down, throwing some beef Wellington out the window. But then I'd be nervous if an
right?
animal got it. I would have gone so far out to get rid of those things and then put the good ones in the garbage. You know what I mean? Like you would not see
Yes.
signs of the poison
Yes.
ones at all. Like,
Not
and
at
I
all.
and normally I'd be like, well, you know what, Paul? Most people don't like live in the world of true crime. She was in a Facebook group. She dissected true crime. She should know
Yes.
this.
Yes. She asked for a beef Wellington recipe in her true crime group. Ma'am, what are you doing? These people are bad at crime. Now, I'm not saying I would be good at crime, but if I were going to commit a crime, I'd like to think I'd be smarter than this. This is nuts to me. Everything about it is nuts.
And I mean, that's the whole thing too, where it's like, okay, so like you know how some of the crimes you look at it and it seems like maybe they did plan it out, but then something got out of control. Things are getting out of control
Right,
here. And like something
right,
happens and it unravels, which is most, I mean, because how often is something like that going to, it shouldn't go smoothly, we hope, right? But
right,
like her
right.
seems right out of the gate, because I would have been like this. I would have been talking about, oh, those, I would be like, those are, first of all, I would have eaten a little bit of them and made myself sick, charged it to the game and been like, it is
Yep,
what it is. You're going to have to take one for the
yep,
team. And I would have been talking
yep.
about, oh, I forged those, but I was going to go doing my thing. I have a little hobby. Oh my God, I can't believe I forged these death caps.
It's
Hardcore accident.
crazy. It's crazy. I was listening to that on your channel the other day when you said she was telling people that she got them from like the supermarket and a Chinese market. I hate the way she threw an all-purpose minority in there for no good damn reason. Like, are there brown people in the neighborhood? Okay, let's just blame it on the brown people. Ma'am, I'm gonna need you to get your whole act right fully installed. But then, like the idea that she was foraging because they said she liked to forage anyway, it makes more sense that she would have accidentally foraged poison ones. Because even the professionals are like, it's hard to tell which ones. She could have totally played this off like it was an accident.
She had some good wins in the courtroom if she had gone with the foraging thing. Because when they're up there
Yes.
talking about, yeah, I mean, it's hard to tell and this and that. And it would make sense for an amateur forager to be like, oh, here's these mushrooms. It's like
Yeah.
a stupid move, whatever. Because I would never want to go forage unless I was truly new. But then somebody else was saying she was like deemed an expert in foraging or something like that. I don't know if that I can't confirm that. Could be sofa
Really?
speculation. But like there's definitely a lot of
Sofa
evidence of her
speculation. I love
foraging.
it.
Yeah. You're right. So it's like I don't know. I cannot figure out for the life of me.
It's unbelievable. And they
And then the
stink.
motivation.
Right. They say these mushrooms stink. I guess they're fine when you cut them or when you first get them, but if you cook them or dehydrate them, they smell off. In what world are you cooking something that stinks and you're like, this is gonna be great? Just stir it in. Add a little more salt.
And you know
Mm-mm.
what I would have done too?
Mm-mm.
I would have been like this. I would have been like, for the kid part. See, I've thought this through. If y'all hear me talking about I'm having people over for beef Wellington at this point, you'd be like, we need to talk to these people, Paul, because I've thought this one. I've been like really thinking this one through. Like I would have done it
Oh
like
my
this.
God.
For the kids, I would have been like, kids don't like beef Wellington. They got macaroni and hot dogs or whatever. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? Why
Yep.
even give them that to have to play? Oh, they scraped the mushrooms off. Why would you even say that? They would have had
Mm-mm.
macaroni and cheese and some hot dogs and been like, no,
They-
picky eaters, they're kids. They don't want them to eat beef Wellington.
Too
I mean,
fancy for them.
yeah, it
Okay.
doesn't even make sense.
The the most important question. Have you ever had beef Wellington? I don't think I've ever had it.
And now I don't want
I right?
it.
Now if somebody serves it to me, I'm like, girl, where'd you get these mushrooms from? Where'd you get
Serious
this
side
beef
eye.
from?
Yeah.
There's no way. Why no gravy? I will never. How was she said that she said it was mashed potatoes? Were they like those baby potatoes that you roast them and smash them and make them crispy?
Yeah, I
I
don't
need to know
know.
about these gravy-less potatoes. That is a crime against humanity. You just out here eating mashed potatoes with no gravy?
Yeah,
No,
literally.
ma'am.
Literally. Well, one
No,
of the
ma'am.
victims said when they came, but also too a couple of things. So number one, they came in and she was mashing those potatoes, and she's like, "Oh, I don't need any help, or whatever." But then everybody was like, "Oh my god, that was the best beef Wellington I've ever had."
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Apparently, poison tastes delicious. Um,
Right?
there was after this story came out, apparently in Australia, they were talking about like how often does this happen that somebody accidentally forages the wrong thing. And there was a story about a woman who found mushrooms in her garden and she cut them and cooked them and ate them. And she and her son, and they were delicious. First of all, I was like, Heffa is crazy. There's no way in the world. But okay. And then like a week later, 2 week, whatever, because mushrooms go very fast. In the same spot, she found more mushrooms. So she cut those and cooked those and ate those. The first ones were fine. The second ones were death caps, but they grew in the same place and they looked the same. So the son got sick and the lady got sick and died. Are people out here just eating wild fungus?
See, that's my thing. I'm like, well, first of all, do they grow in America, or is it this just like a Australian or like somewhere else thing?
Who are you asking? I do not know.
Because I
I
never heard
assume
of
all
them.
mushrooms are poison. Yeah, no, me either.
I
Me
never. The
either.
only kind of so over all I knew is that if you go in a cow field and get some mushrooms growing in a cow patty, you're going to see funny stuff if you take them. Those are the only kind of crazy mushrooms I know about over here. But this whole death cap thing, I'm like, I never heard of them, and I'm just
Wait,
like,
we need
but
to ask an expert. Wait, Ziggy, do death cap mushrooms grow in America? She knows
From
everything.
WebMD.com. In the United States, death cap mushrooms are typically found on the east and west coasts.
They are typically found on the east and west coast. Okay, so don't eat mushrooms in California. And well, both of us live on coasts. You live on the east. We both live on the east. So West Coast mushrooms. Okay.
Yeah,
Now
I'm
we
not
know.
getting mushrooms
Also,
ever again. Never
mm-mm.
again.
I don't understand the appeal of wild. Like mushrooms are okay, but they don't taste good enough for me to be like, okay, let me just go get some out of my backyard. There's
Yeah.
no way in the world.
You see, that's the
Mm-mm.
thing. I'm not into mushrooms enough in general to be like,
Yeah.
oh, great. Like like I'm very like it's a very specific thing. So for someone
Yeah.
who's like, oh, I wanted to go forage and do this and do that, and like you, I just anytime I see a mushroom, I'm like, it's poisonous. Like for
Yes.
what I like, I mean, I have no idea how mushrooms work or where they grow or any of that stuff.
Me either.
So yeah, so that part right there, I'm like, I just would never think to do that. But I rarely even go to the grocery store and buy mushrooms to put in stuff. Now I do love some mushrooms on like a pizza. There's certain things that I'm like,
Hmm.
mushrooms on pizza, yummy. But like for me to chop up a mushroom dry and put in my salad, I'm like, no, I'm good. I
Girl.
don't. I like
Mm-mm.
them cooked. But now when
Yes.
I think of them cooked in like see in my mind, I'm envisioning almost like mushrooms with gravy, though she didn't have gravy, all over this meat. And now, like in my mind, my stomach almost feels immediately upset thinking about that because I
Yes.
associate it
I
with
get the
poison
bubble
now.
guts.
Yes,
I
that's
get
what
the
my
bubble
stomach
guts.
immediately starts doing.
I eat mushrooms the way the Lord intended, deep fried
I
from the
mean,
bowling alley. You go down to the
mm,
bowling alley,
that sounds
cosmic bowl,
amazing.
and they have them the battered deep fried ones, and you dip them in ranch sauce. When I was pregnant, honey, this like last time I was pregnant was 18 years ago. But there's a bowling alley not far from us, and they had them in like, like their little canteen. And this is the crappiest bowling alley in the world, bless their hearts. They didn't have like there was no DoorDash or anything. I would call and they had a payphone in the like the little canteen, and me and my big pregnant self, boop, 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 boop. Hi, I would like to place an order for takeout. They were like, this is Cosmic Bowl, Bowlmore Lanes, whatever it was. I was like, can you make me 3 orders of mushrooms? And they would drop them in the thing, and I would drive 100 months pregnant, pick up my steaming hot bag of mushrooms. You bite into them, lava. It burns your entire tongue off. You dip them in the ranch to soothe the burning on your tongue, and then you eat some more and you deal with the heartburn. The way the
Ooh,
Lord intended. You're not supposed to be out here killing people with field mushrooms. Are you crazy?
that sounds so
Mm-mm.
good.
So
Somebody
good.
said, someone said in the chat, saute mushrooms. I'm like, oh yeah, like that right there.
Oh, on a steak?
With onions and that
Yes.
or what? Oh my goodness. See, now I'm getting hungry, but not for mushroom.
Right?
Um,
Wait.
but
Mushroom foraging is a national pastime in Finland.
oh, that's
Something wrong with the
interesting.
Finnish people.
Yeah,
Mm-mm.
I just would never. I just so yeah. It's like I would have gone with that whole narrative. I would have thought this out. I would have been like, I'd
Yep.
forage the mushrooms, but I
Yep.
also then question. I would question if she knew what her end goal was because she
Right.
had to know. Clearly, she knew what they were and how sick you
Yeah.
got from them. Pardon me.
Yeah.
And so, with that, she had to know that these people were going to die or get, pardon me, super, super sick. You know what I mean? To the point of like, I mean, these are like elderly people, like not her ex husband, but like
Yes.
these were like, older people. And so, again, she knew what they were. So that's where I'm like, what I just, I don't think she knew what
Right.
she wanted out of it.
Right.
Unless
Right.
she was trying to play it, maybe her motive was going to be like, I'm just going to talk about Woolworths. Somebody threw some death caps at Woolworths, and it took them out, and I was lucky to have survived. Now get, yeah, but that's the most idiotic plot because it's just
Yeah.
like, well, other people are gonna remember that Tylenol. I don't know the case, but it was like the Tylenol murders.
Yes. Yes.
It's
Yes,
almost
of
like she was going
course.
with that. I would love to know if they had studied that in her Facebook group.
That's exactly what I was thinking when you started talking the Tylenol murders. But also, this one is a little personal for me. The anthrax murders. I don't know if you know, my uncle died from anthrax poisoning right after 9/11.
Oh my god, really? I feel like you may have told me,
Yes.
but
Yes.
share what you're willing to share.
I'll share with the class. So my aunt married this man who's a postal worker down in DC, right in the suburbs of DC. Like, okay, so picture it. Cute little me, 2001, right? I'm living in New York City, minding my own business. I work in Midtown, but this particular day, I happen to go all the way downtown to Lower Manhattan. And, on a job interview, trying to get myself a better job, when the planes hit the towers, 9/11, I'm literally right across the street. So I walk outside and I see all kinds of madness. I was like, I remember thinking, I am going to be in therapy for freaking ever. The PTSD was crazy, crazy. I was losing my mind, like crazy, 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 right? So we go home. Everybody in New York is like, oh my God, I was living in Harlem. So I'm like, I'm going to go uptown to Harlem because I know they're not trying to kill the black people. They're just trying to get like them fancy bankers and stuff downtown. So I go home to Harlem with my little baby and we just watch like the Cartoon Network or whatever. 2, 3 weeks goes by. Well, no, because that was September 11th, October 21st. Anthrax laced letter is sent through the post office from Florida to Senator Tom Daschle's office in Washington, D.C. And so that letter was processed at the Brentwood station, which is like suburban Maryland. My uncle, my husband's my aunt's new husband, they've been married like 10 years, was working at Brentwood. And so they sent all the people from the Brentwood station home saying, hey, this letter might have passed through here. Out of an abundance of caution, we're going to send everybody home. So he goes home and he gets flu-like symptoms. And he's like, I'm not feeling well. He goes to the doctor and they're like, yeah, but the letter didn't pass through your station because he was in packages and the letter would have gone through the letters portion. So he's like, okay, he goes home that night. He gets really, really sick. So they take him back to the hospital. And they said to my aunt, he's resting comfortably. Don't worry about it. He's going to be fine. So they call her in the middle of the night. She's thinking, dang, he probably had a stroke. They're like, no, he's passed away. And so she's like, well, wait. And they're like, yeah, we think it's anthrax, but you can't tell anybody because first we got to like tell the government and do all the stuff. So I get this phone call early in the morning, like October 22nd. Listen, Thomas died last night. You got to go to DC to be with Auntie, but you can't tell anybody where you're going or why. Bitch, I did a job. So I go in my boss's office, like on kitten feet. Listen, something has happened. It's a national security situation. It's like, you are a secretary. What do you know about national security? So my boss, I explained the situation. You can't tell anybody. It's going to be on the national news tonight. Everybody's in uproar, whatever. And so I was like, okay. So I go down to DC to be by my aunt. And I was like, listen, is there still poison in the house? And she's like, girl, I don't know. I'm like, well, we just sitting up here in this apartment. We could be. So the FBI comes, knock, knock, knock. Hi, we're the FBI. Listen, we like to look around. So the FBI comes. I don't know that I've ever told this full story. The FBI shows up. The FBI has what looks like a fire truck, right? A big, giant fire truck. No lights, no sirens. Giant fire truck, but instead of being red, it's white. Dudes get out of the fire truck. They put on like these suits. Everything is covered up. They go in the house. They bring
I'd
out
be
a
like, give me
red
that
plastic.
suit. I want the suit too.
Honey, they bring out a red plastic bag, right? That have like his clothes and stuff from work. They're rinsing the outside of the bag with some sort of solution. They put that bag in another bag. They turn their clothes inside out. They put everything away. And we're like, so can we go back in the house? They're like, then it'll be fine. Wait, y'all just sent y'all people in suits. And you tell
I'm
me
gonna
it's
need
fine?
y'all to spray something in here, some lights, something. I need to see something. And a suit.
It was like, this is
No.
crazy. They were like, they said to my husband, they said to my aunt, your husband was a hero. He died, he's an American hero. And she was just like, he's just a man who went to work at the post office. What are y'all talking about? So we were like, is it safe to go in the house? And they were like, we don't know, call the CDC. Meanwhile, we turn on the news, the government. Everything is under control. If anybody comes in contact with anthrax, we know everything is fine. We know everything. It's going to be good. Everything is under control. So I call the CDC. It's the middle of the night now, right? It's late. Hi, CDC. The FBI told us to call you because anthrax, blah, blah, blah. They tell me, no, nobody ever dies from that. Ma'am, my uncle just died this morning. This is his name. This is the situation. And they're just like, oh, yeah. Hang on, let me transfer you.
Wait, did they know him?
Transfer.
Do they know him? Like, were they expecting your
No,
call?
I don't know. It's the CDC. Shouldn't they have known? Shouldn't they have
So the
known?
FBI is
He
like, oh,
was
just call them like he referred you like a normal
right.
citizen.
The FBI refers
Okay.
us to the CDC. The CDC refers us back to the FBI. The FBI refers us back to the CDC. So I went on the internet on my flip phone, which was very slow, and was like, and so we learned how to decontaminate the house by putting a spray bottle with water in it and like a little bit of bleach. And so I decontaminated the house and then decontaminated the car. And then we all went back in. They're like, "No, you go in there and sleep. It's fine." What? And then a second person died, and then it became national news, and it was like a big deal. And we had publicists at the house, and the press from around the world was standing outside. Child was madness. Madness.
It's stressing me out just like the whole well also but just listening to like the we don't know if you can go back in there. You just had some ET phone home situation set up outside my house
Exactly.
talking about you can just roll
Exactly.
up in there and just get ready for work tomorrow. No. First of all, I'd be like this. First of all, I need a note for work for at least a week. Then we can talk after
Mhm,
that.
mhm. Like, what are y'all doing?
No.
Meanwhile, they were just like on the news. They're like, we're hearing reports out of DC. My uncle had been dead for a day and a half before it hit national news. I knew it was going to take a while to hit. So I'm in DC for 2 weeks. There's like, we're dealing with the government, we're dealing with the post office. There's a ton of like a zillion moving pieces. All the press is there. We're locked inside the house because anytime you step outside the house, it's like paparazzi. I had a 3-year-old at the time. So we let my son and my cousin's boy play on the balcony because there was no place for them to go outside. Hold for a second. Somebody needs to come and get these dogs. You can yell at my family. Please hold.
Come on. Good boy.
Thank you for holding. Um, So the kids are playing out on the balcony. So a rumor started among the press that my uncle had two young children and that the young children had been exposed to the anthrax and blah blah blah. It was all just like a made up rumor because my aunt refused to give any kind of press coverage. So they just made up stories in the absence of real stories. It was nuts. It was
So
nuts.
I mean, first of all, what a horrible way for the poor man to die. I mean, God bless him. Secondly,
Unbelievable.
you had a front row seat to something like you probably it's so interesting to no to hear because like you're like okay I'm living at I know what the truth is but now I'm seeing this happen out here and seeing like
Hmm.
that's not true this isn't how this is being spun this way and blah, 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 like all the things right
Hmm.
that
It
is
was nuts.
crazy.
It was nuts. So cut to like a couple of weeks later, they say there's an older woman in New York City who was suspectedly poisoned from anthrax from like some other means or whatever. And I said to my coworkers, "Oh, she's already dead." They were like, "No, no, no, they haven't reported she's died." I said, "Let me tell you something. If they're reporting she's sick, that means she's already dead." Like a day or two later, "Oh, Mrs. So and so, died." I was like, because they don't tell you stuff. They don't tell you the
Yeah.
complete story. Now, when I watch the news, I'm like, okay, girl, look, that was 25 years ago. I'm still um, skeptical. I'm looking at everything with a side eye. So as I watch this mushroom case unfold, see, I bring it full circle, brought it full
Full
circle.
circle,
Um,
full
as
circle.
as I watch this mushroom case unfold, and any of these true crime cases, right? I'm like, there's whatever they show me in court, the proof of things that they have. Okay, that I believe. Everything that comes out before, mere speculation, might turn out to be true, might not turn out to be true. You only have a piece of the story ever, 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 ever. And then there's a bunch of like, virtue signaling about, I just care about the children and I just want to make sure this, that, and the third. Okay, everybody, calm the heck down. It's madness. It's
Pardon
madness.
me. Yeah, that's the thing too. Like when all the cases, hold on, when all the cases unfold, it's always fascinating. The one that reminds me of it most recently that we went through is Megan Boswell. And so once the opening statements came out, and it was like, oh, that's what really happened. Oh, this is what really, and even like as it's unfolding and the speculation that goes all that comes from whatever, because yeah, it's
Yeah.
always like, oh, honey, even though like you would think we know every last little thing there is to know about a case. It's like, oh no, they're holding back.
Never.
Like, and even
Never.
then, like you said, even once it comes out, you don't really know really
Mm-mm.
what all's out there. Like even stuff that we
Mm-mm.
haven't seen, like in the preliminary hearings and all that kind of stuff. Um,
Yeah.
you just never know. Like it's whatever
Yeah.
story they want to
Yeah.
present.
Right. It's like, what pieces can they put together? I mean, because I sort of lived inside the whole anthrax thing for, I think it was about 3 years before they wrapped it up, and there was a suspect, and everything got sort of tied up neatly with a bowl. Question mark. I watched a documentary. For a long time, I was like, I still can't deal with anything 9/11 related. People are like, oh, do you want to go to the memorial? I'm like, no, thank you. Um, but I did
Mhm.
watch this anthrax documentary a couple of years ago, and I was watching it and I was like, uh-huh, that happened, that's wrong, that's incorrect, that's partially true. And they had like these pictures of my aunt at her husband's funeral. I'm like, that is not pictures from her funeral. She did not allow press at the funeral. Like, they're just all these things. There's all these things. And I'm just like, okay, y'all. So people have said to me like, oh, well, you gossip about true crime. And I'm like, girl, everybody is gossiping about true crime. What you're watching on the news, truth adjacent. It's my
Yeah,
opinion.
yeah, yeah. Well, also what's so interesting too, and the way that the times we live in, whatever, is like if we know that something, I don't know, a Brian Koberger, a
Right.
document's been released, you can't find it. It's like you have to go to the other, to Reddit, to here, to there, to whatever, or like the
Yep.
means that we know to go get the document ourselves,
Right.
versus what's going to be on mainstream media of like, okay, well here this has now hit the whatever, if it does, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's really interesting to kind of get, I don't want to say behind the scenes, because it's like I don't do anything that anybody else could do or find
Right.
out, or you know
Same.
what I'm saying? Like,
Same.
so, but even on that level, when I look back, bro, I'm like, well, Paul, I mean, there's some content that I listen to that's not true crime, where I'm listening to other people gather all the intel and just tell it to me. And I'm like, I would never
Yeah.
know to go look for this or find this or whatever it is. You
Right.
know what I'm saying?
Right.
Pardon me. So, oh yeah, that's fascinating. I mean, again, I hate that what a horrible way to die. So, did you, if you don't mind me
Terrible.
asking, was your aunt like, okay, well, this is how it went down? I mean, did he suffer? I mean, anthrax sounds like a terrible way to die.
So it was basically like he got sick. He didn't feel well. He felt like he had a cold at first and then like the flu. So it
Okay.
was sort of like he felt like he had a bad flu. Once they tested him for suspicion of anthrax, here's the thing: the only way they can test for like true anthrax poisoning is in an autopsy. They can't really test you while you're alive. So it's like, oh, great. So they started treating him like they suspected that that's what he had, but it was so far gone. He had inhalation anthrax, which is way more poisonous than cutaneous anthrax, which is just like there's a cut on your skin. Honey, I know a lot about anthrax. Um, but like at that time, I don't know what the testing is like now or whatever, but then like rumors came out that it was like from a government source. The person who ultimately is suspected of being
Do they catch him? Do they catch him? Sorry to interrupt you.
he unalived himself. Hmm. Yeah,
Really?
he was trying to get more notice for a study he was doing. He was working on this study of anthrax, but then people were like, nobody uses anthrax poisoning. They were going to close down his study. So his bright idea, allegedly, was to like have some people pass away from anthrax poisoning on the heels of this big terrorist event in New York. It's like, oh, I'm going to show people, oh, it's easy to mail this stuff, whatever, but they can trace the DNA of these sort of chemicals, and they were able to trace it back to a US lab, from what I understood, child, from a documentary. So who knows? But you know what's crazy? The best, like the news people, the like literally media from around the world camped out on the doorstep of my aunt's apartment. The best, and they were garbage, in my opinion. The best, and their reporting was second to none. Dateline. Dateline was there. They listened to us. Their producers and the people that we spoke with from Dateline were kind. They considered us what everybody else was just like give me the story, give me a sound bite, say whatever, whatever. And my aunt was like, I don't want any parts of it. But Dateline
Wow.
took their time, stayed with our they continued to contact us relentlessly. Um, but they were kind, they were calm, they treated us like humans. And my aunt said, I'm not ready to talk. And they were like, here's my card. When you're ready, let me know. And their reporting was the best. The closest to they had the story when other people were reporting like little snippets or whatever, half truths, maybe made up truths, whatever. They ran down every single lead. I take my hat off to Dateline. They're second to none,
That's really
in my
reassuring
opinion.
to hear. Yeah. Because I
Yeah.
love
Yeah.
Dateline. I mean,
Me
Keith
too.
and all the different things they do or whatever.
Yes.
That's,
Yes. And
yeah.
they were amazing. I still like prior to that, I was like, I watched Dateline here and there. But Dateline was not always true crime. Dateline was like true
Yeah.
crime and public interest and, whatever.
And now
I
it's,
ever since then, a lot of respect for them.
wow, that's interesting. Well, on that note too, and so
Mm,
I'm gonna round it back out to the mushroom thing. Okay,
yes.
so did you watch the interview that Erin did where she was like crying, like, I love them to death? I wanted to put with the press was there and everything. This is what threw me off, and you tell me how it worked in your situation with with the same thing. When she was doing
Hmm.
that interview, once she was like, okay, I'm kind of done, and she's like going to her house, they're like up on her porch. And I'm thinking to myself, and again, I mean, I grew up in the country, so I'm like, yeah, I want to be having you on my property like that. Like, that doesn't go
At
over well.
all.
So when she's like, I'm done, I'm like, why are they on your porch? I'm like, well, maybe the laws are different there. But I'm like, can't you tell them to get off your property? Or do they not like when your situation were they like all up in your business? They didn't care. Like you having to say, hey, back away. Like, what was the vibe?
They could be on public property. So in our case, it was an apartment. So they could stand on like the sidewalk out in front of the building.
Okay.
Um, they wouldn't even come past, like there was sort of the sidewalk, and then there was a walkway, there was a front step, and then you would go into the building and then walk up to her. They lived in a second floor apartment. They they stayed on the sidewalk that was in front of the building, in the parking lot that was in front of the building. They had their cameras trained on the front door and the balcony at all times, but they never came to the front porch.
Okay.
They never rang the doorbell. Um, and if we had said, because there was so much governmental involvement, if we had said, hey, the post office sent a PR person to stay in the house with us. If we had said to her, hey, Francine, can you make these people go away? Like that one phone call, and she could have made them go away. I don't know how it is if you're just like an average citizen and something takes place like that, but you don't have to have people you, on your personal property. That's in the US. I don't know how it works in Australia. I would imagine that it's not so different. But I mean, listen, a long lens, whatever. We kept the curtains closed, all the things.
That is
Meanwhile, I
nuts.
was dating my husband, so I spent all my time every night laying on the floor talking to him on my flip phone, like, hey, what'd you do today?
Oh my god, I love it. What a wild thing to be like. Guess what happened to me today? I
Right.
mean, can you
Right.
imagine? No, well, you're like,
That
yeah, I can. I lived through it.
I can. It's not that fun. Although that's when I realized, like, oh, I'm good with the media. I'm good on TV. Our publicist from the post office was like, she's like, you handle these people so well. And at one point, they were asking my aunt all these personal and invasive questions, which she refused to answer. She was very shell shocked. But because she had been in the hospital to get treated with Cipro, which P.S. they're like, we're gonna give you this Cipro, but we don't even know if it works. Um, they
That treats you
admitted her to the
anthrax.
hospital to treat anthrax. Yeah. They
Okay.
admitted her to the hospital and they put a hospital bracelet on her. And then she came home and she was out talking to the press and she still had her hospital bracelet on. And I thought, oh my gosh, if they made up a story just from seeing two kids play on the balcony, if they see her in a hospital bracelet, who knows what story is going to come out. So I get a pair of scissors and I keep them behind my back and I walk up behind her and I'm standing there like, I was just like, comforting her. And I move her hand behind her back and I snip the bracelet off and I put the thing in my pocket and walk back in the house. I was just like, you got to be sneaky. I'm on things. Because Francine, whatever her name is from the post office, was like, how are we going to deal with if they see the bracelet? I was like, I got you, girl. Hang on.
Now, when you're
Little
talking
kitten
about
feet.
Francine, from the post office, the PR lady, like when she
Yeah.
said she was staying there, was it like she shows up at 8 in the morning, or she was like staying, like she's sleeping, spending the night, like camped out with
8
y'all?
in the morning till 6 at night. She's like, y'all need food. What do you want to eat? Do you need the car washed? You want me to go pick up a bag of groceries? Anything you needed.
Wow,
She came and she was there. There were two gentlemen who died during that episode. They sent one person to our house and one person to the other family's house.
that's
And
good to
so,
hear.
yeah, yeah. And since then, they have renamed it. It used to be the Brentwood Post Office, and now it is the Thomas Morris and Joseph Cursine Brentwood Post Office, something like that. It used to be called Brentwood, and now it's named after the two gentlemen who passed away, my uncle and his colleague who died
Oh
at that time.
wow,
But it's a massive, massive postal facility.
that's really cool that they had that kind of
Yeah,
respect to name that. I mean, that gives me
yeah.
goosebumps. That's really
The post
nice.
office really, really takes care of their people. I mean, they did at that time. I don't know what happens now, but they really, really took care of their people, and they made us feel. Some of the people, um, and the government people, the worst. All them
Really?
senators and stuff, child, child. Everybody
Oh
was
yeah.
like, "I just want to be here for a photo op. Can I stand next to the widow?" My aunt was like, "Get this man away from me."
I was gonna say they're probably like vultures, all just coming in there, trying to just do their
Yep.
thing, get that
Like, I'm gonna put
moment.
this on an ad and collect some campaign donations or
Yeah.
whatever, like crazy,
Ugh,
crazy town.
so gross. Yeah. Well, yeah,
So
I didn't know
so
that
how do you
about
think
you.
this Yeah. Yeah, I've had a couple brushes with true crime. That was one of the big ones. The other one, which I think members know this, my neighbor across the street when I lived in Queens, my neighbor across the street was a family annihilator. And he unfortunately unalived his entire family. Child, I was home minding my business, and the man pewed up his whole family. And then the cops were like, "Hey, girl, hey, did any bullets fly through your apartment tonight?" And I was like, "What?" And so my friend, this dude I knew who was trying to holler, came over to comfort me, and he was so comforting that I got pregnant.
I was like,
So,
mhm, mhm.
he's very comforting. He's very comforting. Sometimes you
Oh
just
my
need a
gosh,
warm
these stories.
embrace.
I know, right?
Child.
Well, especially after a
Crazy.
family annihilation happens across the street, it's like, yeah, I need a little TLC tonight. Like, I mean, come on.
Right?
Oh my
Crazy
god, that is
town.
crazy.
Crazy. I honestly was just like, he was like, "I'm gonna come to your house and bring you some pizza." I was not even really interested in this guy like that. He was trying to scooch up next to me, and I was like, I told him, "You are not qualified to date me. Don't you think you aiming awful high? You aiming awful high." Um, he
This
was
is in
aiming low too.
now this was in New York. Where was, like, if you want to share, like, where was
Queens,
Queens, New York? Okay.
Queens, 75th Avenue in Queens. Yeah.
Okay. I have never
Child up
been to
against
New
the wall
York.
in the hallway. You've never been to New York? What are you
Isn't that
doing with your
shocking?
life?
It's sad, isn't it? I've never gone.
Honey,
I've never been
honey,
above Washington, DC. Well, I'm lying.
I'm
I've been
trying
to
to
Maryland. I've been to Maryland, which is
I've
kind of
been
the
to
same.
I've never been to the Oh, no, no, no. I went to North Carolina. A friend had a thing and she's like, "Will you take a road trip with me?" And I was like, "Oh, wait, somebody said Jackson Heights." That is exactly right. Wait, I can't catch the comment. Yes, my baby was conceived in Jackson Heights. Born in Manhattan, but he was conceived in Jackson Heights on 75th Avenue. Um, a friend of mine wanted me to accompany her to North Carolina because she needs somebody to help her drive. We drove to North Carolina, spent the night. She went to whatever event, and we drove back the next day. Like that's. And then my husband's family is from South Carolina. Um, 0 stars, did not recommend. But I went for a family funeral and came back on a
What, down to South
bus.
Carolina?
Yes. Wait, where's Florence? Chat, where's
Oh yeah,
Florence? It's
yeah.
it's one of the Carolinas.
South Carolina. Yeah.
0 stars. It's not for me. It's not
South
for me.
Carolina, it's like whenever, if like when I used to drive up, like, and do the drive or whatever. South Carolina, when you hit it, 95 South or North, whichever way you're going, It was like, oh
Mhm.
my God, takes hours to get through South Carolina. It was so horrible. And all the south of the border, what do you call the signs on the side of the road? Billboards that remind you of every single mile. Only 300 miles to go, 298. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know if they still have them or not now.
Oh
But
my
oh my
god.
God, it was
Mm-mm.
so much. It was so much.
Mm-mm.
And I haven't been
Mm-mm.
to like the cute parts of South Carolina because I just
There
have
are
always
cute
kind of gone.
parts.
Well, I think there's like, well, so there's Myrtle Beach, but I can't. This is really bad. I think Myrtle Beach is South Carolina. I'm pretty
Child, I
sure it
don't know.
is. But then like Charleston, I think is really, really pretty, but I've not been there in
Mm.
years, like years. And then Savannah, but that's in Georgia. Um,
Yeah, no. Mm-mm.
so
I've been to Atlanta on business trips. I've been to Miami. I've been to all over, not all over Florida, South Florida. I've been to a lot. Mostly they go on cruises. And I have a friend who has another house down there. So I've been to Fort Lauderdale, I've been to Miami, and I've been to the Everglades. Um Again, too many my body is allergic to it. My body is rejecting it. I'm like,
yeah,
more of
yeah,
a city girl.
100%.
I've literally spent more time in Europe than I've spent in the southern United States. Like, I'm like, nah,
I
not
really
for
want to
me.
go like as a bucket list type thing. I
Yeah,
mean, number one, New York, just to be able to say, I mean, like I've gone to New York, right? But
yeah.
Maine, I want to check out Maine. I want to check out Vermont.
Gorge.
Yeah,
Gorge.
like in my mind, I have this whole romanticized thing of like I want to live in Maine, and I have the picture of what it would be. Now, I don't.
Yes.
Most of the time, it's probably not going to be that way. But I'm like,
It's
oh, I have a
really
little
pretty.
cabin in the
It's
woods, and
really pretty. The Wi-Fi
yeah,
is bad, but it's really pretty.
yeah,
I went to Desert Mount. I don't know. I was staying in a very, very shishi expensive house in Maine for work. And I was like, oh, this is pretty. Oh, why is the Wi-Fi so bad? You know, I couldn't stay. I was like,
yeah,
no,
yeah. See
no.
that?
The
Yeah,
pizza was good. The blueberries were delightful. The Wi-Fi was bad. It was then time to go home. I was like,
yeah.
nope, 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 nope. It
I
was
have no
good for
idea.
me.
Yeah, in the winter, I don't know what winter. I don't know what
Cold,
that would be like. Well, even like where
cold.
you're still up north, right?
Hmm.
I have no idea what like that, like a New York, New Jersey winter. I'm like, oh, I have no idea like what that would
It's
be
not that
like.
cold. I mean,
Really?
listen, I grew up in the Midwest, right? Like I grew up I was born in Indianapolis and then I lived for a long time in the Chicagoland area. That's
Okay.
cold. That's next level cold. Like it gets so cold you have to get up in the middle of the night and start your car, otherwise it won't start in the morning. Like it's cold. So, living in New York, New Jersey, we generally don't get snow until like January, and you get snow for a few weeks. Every couple of years you get enough to pile up, and then you go on with the rest of your life. It's And Manhattan has the heat island effect. I know tons of little bitty like weird bits of information. The island of Manhattan has like heat pipes that run underneath it that like fuel radiator systems and all kinds of stuff, but the island itself is so hot it creates a warm buffer over it. So it's not uncommon for it to be snowing where I live in New Jersey, and 6 miles away in Manhattan, it's raining because there's so much heat radiating off the island. The snow, as it falls, turns to water.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I moved
That
here on
is
a whim
interesting.
30 years ago. I didn't know anybody. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't have any money. My very gay boyfriend said he didn't want to marry me, and it pissed me off. And so I was like, I'm leaving.
I'm out of
And in
here.
dramatic fashion, I stormed out and I moved to New York City. It was fine.
I went to
It's ill
Minneapolis,
advised.
but you turned out good. It sounds.
Turns out good. 33 years, 34
Yeah.
years. I've been here a long
Well,
time.
yeah. Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I went to Minneapolis like decades ago at this point, and it was in the middle of winter, but it was like a fluke where it was like warm-ish, and like it was. I was like,
Oh,
this isn't that bad. Well, the day that I left, it was like I don't know what it was like negative. Like I had never felt cold like that. I was like, this is insane. I was like, there
yeah.
is no way. And they were like, this isn't even that bad. I'm like, oh no. Oh no, I
You're like, I
can't.
gotta go.
Yeah,
I
I'm
gotta
like, I
go.
can't. I'd never felt cold like that before. Like in like a
Yeah.
okay, well now you got to go to work, and I'm like, no, we would shut down. No snow, just that kind of cold. Like no, we would shut down. You just don't
Like
do that.
upstate New York, like Buffalo and Albany and all these places, it gets crazy cold with deep snow and stuff. So my grandma, when she was alive, would see on the news, oh, they got 10 feet of snow in New York. I'm like, Grandma, that's New York State. That's a very different thing than New York City.
That's
Like
probably what I'm
it's
thinking of. That's probably what I'm thinking because I've had friends from like Buffalo. So I just, you know
yeah,
how probably everybody does this, especially hasn't been there. To me, New York is New York, like what you're talking about. And I forget that
right.
there's parts of New York that's like, no, it's just like wherever, like where I'm at, it's just like, normal. It's not a city.
Yeah.
It's not, whatever.
You
That's
can
what I'm
drive for
thinking
eight
of.
hours and still be in New York. Like New York State is big. It's very and Manhattan is like the as far is like the southernmost tip of New York State is New York City. So you drive for 8 hours and get to Buffalo. Yeah, you find a whole bunch of deep snow. I don't know nothing about that. The
Yeah.
Lord did not need me there. He needed me here in Bergen County so I could reign over my gossip empire.
Where is
Up there, no
Yonkers
thank you.
at?
Yonkers is just north of Manhattan. Like
Okay.
here's Manhattan and here's Yonkers, just above it by the Bronx.
Okay. That's where when I grew up, all of our neighbors, one family came down from Yonkers and they relocated and then they got some
Hmm.
property over here and they would all take turns moving their family down. And so they stay in this little apartment thing they built, establish themselves, move out of
Yep.
it. The next family would come down, but they were
Yep.
always from Yonkers or whatever. My mom had
Yeah.
gone up there because they were like family or whatever. And so yeah, I kind of grew up in between Northerners or
Hmm.
whatever, but not obviously in the North.
That's
I was
called nesting.
sandwiched.
Like that's sort of like the nest theory. People do that. People from the islands do that a lot, right? So you buy a house or an apartment or whatever, a residence, and you create a nest. So you move and get yourself together, and then you move out, and then more of your family comes and they establish themselves in the nest, and then they fly the coop, and then like that's a big, big thing, especially among like immigrant families or whatever here. Very, very common. Very common for the if you want to go to another place, it's a way to make sure that you're going to a place where you're already going to have connections.
Mhm.
You make a nest and
It makes
everybody just
total
sort of stays
sense.
there for a little while. Yeah.
Yeah, it makes
Yeah, but it's
total
also
sense.
so expensive. It's so expensive to live here.
Oh, I
Um,
can imagine.
I, at this point I've lived my entire adult life here, but like my kid was like, oh, I'm gonna move out, I'm gonna move in with some friends like right after high school. I'm like, oh yeah, that sounds great, get an apartment. We look at these apartments, the crappiest, like one bedroom, bad neighborhood. It's like I don't even know that I'm comfortable going there in the daylight. They're like, okay, so this is $2,000 a month for this. I was like, what? And now my friends are like, we're trying to find an apartment that's under $6,000 a month, a regular 2 bedroom, but like, yeah, six
That's
grand. That's
insane.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
crazy. But
But people pay it all day, every day.
now it's so like up there, is it common like where you'll find an apartment where multiple friends or whoever the situation is have to like be like roommates or something? But isn't
Oh yeah.
also the minimum wage or whatever you call it, like the hour, like however you call it, isn't it way more
It's
up
like
there?
18, $20 an hour. So it's not enough to live off of
Oh
still.
yeah.
It's
Yeah.
minimum. It's minimum. But young people, commonly, your parents pay like the first couple $1,000s of your rent, and then you pay the rest of it. Or you live with 65 roommates in one place, or you live in the outer boroughs. Like you don't live in Manhattan, you live in Queens, you live in Bronx, you live in Brooklyn, you live in New Jersey. But I bought my apartment in Manhattan 20 something years ago for 2 cents. And then Bill Clinton moved to his office to Harlem and the property values went crazy. And so I bought an apartment for cheap. I mean, it was a nice two-bedroom apartment in a doorman building, but it didn't cost me that much money. And then when Bill Clinton moved in, the property values went nuts. And so I sold the apartment after 2 years and I moved out to the suburbs. But Clinton moving to the neighborhood is what gave me enough money to be able to afford to move to Bergen County. Otherwise, I would not live here.
Oh
So I
wow, that's fascinating.
Yeah. I mean, I've lived in Bergen County since Jordan was 4, so 22 years, 23 years, something like that. I've lived in this county for a long time, but if I moved from Indiana today and tried to buy the house I live in, I could never afford it. No way in the world.
Gotcha, yeah. Yeah.
It's crazy.
How long does it take you if you were like, and I'll quit asking you New Jersey, New York questions. How long would
That's
it
fine.
take you if you were like, I'm gonna, and I don't even know how it works. Can you number one go get on a subway and go into the city, or is it not work that
No,
way? So you
it
have to
doesn't work that
drive.
way.
Okay, you have to like
No,
drive.
it doesn't work that way. No. So this is how it works. So New York City is here, New Jersey is here. There's a bridge between the two. I could, in theory, drive to my office every day. I do not because I'm not a crazy person. I where I live, there are buses that take you into the city, and they're coach buses. Like it's not like, the bus where you have the change box in the front. It's not that kind of bus. It's like a Greyhound bus with the big high back seats. It's all cushiony. The seats lean back. There's a bathroom in the back. They're called coach buses, but New Jersey Transit runs many, many, many bus lines. And so I walk a couple blocks from my house. I get on the bus and it takes me straight into Midtown Manhattan. And then from the bus station in Manhattan, I walk to my office. So from sitting here at my desk to sitting in my office in Manhattan takes me 1 hour and 5 minutes. Now, if I were to, and it costs me, my monthly pass is like $170. If I were to drive that same distance, it would probably take me an hour and 40 minutes and would cost me $35 a day for parking plus $18 a day for tolls. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. If I go to LaGuardia Airport, that is 12 miles from my house, I pay $35 in tolls. It's nuts. It's
That
nuts.
is crazy. At least the bus, it's like you're not driving. It's like you're just kind of hanging out, like looking out the
I
window.
sleep. I watch
Yeah, or sleep.
you on the bus. Me and you are on the bus together every
Hanging
morning.
out. I
Every
love
morning.
that. That is
Yeah.
wild.
Yeah, it's a totally different. And some people take trains, but from where I live, I can take a train down to further south in Jersey, but then I'd have to get off that train and get on a different train to take a train that goes directly into Manhattan, and then from that train station, I'd still have to walk to my office. The bus is so much easier. It's cheap, it's fast, and I can sleep for my commute. Phew.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I get that 100%.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good how do you get to work? You do this full time now? You're live
Yeah.
streaming full time now?
Well, I
That's
still have a
amazing.
couple of little like side things I do or whatever. Um,
Mhm.
but yeah, I kind of stepped back from all the things I was doing for the most part, especially trying to like get all the situation with the house and all that stuff done or whatever. I was like, okay, look,
Right.
this other stuff is like, because you know how it's like when you're doing something and then it's like,
Mhm.
I'm going to, yeah, like I'll come in and do that on Friday, the whatever. Well, you already know 2 days before that happens, 10 million things are popping off on that day that's like way more, oh my gosh, this is detrimental. You have to get whatever. So I was like, you know what?
Yeah.
I'm gonna step back while I do get the house situated, the property, all that kind of stuff, whatever, and figure out what I'm doing. And so now that that's kind of like leveling out a little bit, like I've gone and started doing some more stuff at the estate sale company I worked for and that kind of stuff or whatever. So
So did you
but I
ever
lo-
have, like, a corporate job, like, where you went in and you
Mhm,
sat in an office and did that sort of thing?
mhm, yeah.
Okay.
And I just kept
That's
like
interesting.
removing myself from it.
Right,
So
right, right.
yeah, it was a test center where you go get like professionally, how do you say it, like credentialed. You get the
I
credentials.
got you.
I did the
Yes, yes.
credentialing, and I managed that for. I mean, I started working there. I managed it for a while, and then as I got busier with this, and this started doing good. Pardon me. I um I was like, I don't want to be the manager anymore. I was like, just let me do whatever. And so then I
Right,
started doing
right.
that, and that's when it would get like just whether it was this or just personal life started getting like, okay, this is getting like crazy or whatever. So once I
Mhm.
could balance it out to be like, let me just step away from that, get personal life situated,
Right.
and then whatever. So, but I stop in there. I was in there like last week or whatever, hanging out. I mean, I admit I have fun, with my I'm not with coworkers
That's
now, but you know what
awesome.
I'm saying? Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
yeah, I enjoyed it. So I mean, I would love to go. I mean, I would love to go back and do it. And very well might, but we'll
Really?
see. Yeah, I just because it's well too going in
That's
there now. It's
wild.
like you're not thinking about anything. It's just like you go in and do it, and it's like a break from your day. You know what
Yes.
I mean? So it's like
Yes.
I'm just like, oh,
Yes.
it's nice, and I love the people. Even that job, I was like, I love this job. Like it is so much fun.
Same.
You know what I'm saying? It's
Same.
just like
Yeah.
that goes
I'm
so
listen,
far.
I'm a cubicle warrior. I love, like, my mother was a corporate executive, and my whole life I was like, I want to go, I want to have a secretary. And I used to be the secretary. Now I have a secretary, although we don't call her that, but that's what she is. I was like, I want to sit at my desk and I want to be, hello, this is Kathy speaking. How can I help you? And then when people call me about business related things, I could kick my door closed and be like, girl, oh my God. And now people at work ask me about true crime things, which is hilarious. But this can be so crazy and intense, and I'm trying to get the video up and make sure nobody has a nasty comment or whatever. There, I just go and I can sit quietly and just like do my work.
Mm,
It's awesome.
100%, 100%. It's
Wait,
refreshing.
Tracy asked, is the mushroom talk finished? Child, yes, because I said we were only going to do 1 hour and it's a hard out. Now we're just sitting here having a little kiki. Um, but
Oh
I
yeah,
have a good
sorry, yeah.
time. And my colleagues, some of whom started tuning into this channel. I'm nervous. I have to be like, I have to keep my pinkies out, act like I have some common sense, talk nice to people and stuff. Anyway, tell everybody where to find you, Paul. So we're gonna do
Yes.
YouTube business. First of all, everybody like this video on both channels, on Reporting Live from My Sofa, and subscribe. I am working hard to get to 20,000 subscribers. So please
Woo.
share these videos, like, subscribe, comment, do all the things. Paul, where can everybody find you?
On the sofa right here. Reporting live from my sofa and reporting live from my sofa, the podcast channel. So yes, I do appreciate it. And yeah, we have to do this. We said this last time, but we definitely have to like figure out to do this more or whatever. Because I'll blink and 3 months will
Yes,
go by. You know what
I'm
I'm saying?
telling you.
Like it's
I'm telling
crazy.
you.
So yeah,
Yeah, and the world of
let's
true crime
definitely.
goes so fast.
I know.
Yeah.
I
We'll have to
know.
schedule maybe a new book club or something. We did book club once before. I don't remember what the book. Oh, that crazy
Yeah, what was
Facebook
that?
murder book thing where the girl had like made up all those people that she
Oh
said were in love with
yeah.
her.
Oh, I don't even remember what it was now.
I don't remember. I got the audiobook. It was awesome.
Yeah, but yeah, 100%. Let's definitely do it because this is so much fun. This is
It
so much
is fun.
fun.
It is fun. We'll have to figure something out. So, yes, we're done talking about mushrooms. We're just sitting here having a kiki, gossiping live from our sofa. Thank you, everyone who came out and talked mushrooms with us, talked true crime in real life, and
I know, right?
we'll be back very soon. Now, me and Paul are gonna continue our kiki backstage. So, y'all get on out there and go enjoy the rest of your evening. We'll see you soon.
Bye,
Bye.
everybody. Thank you.